yeah, if I don't show up. And that's the only way I can lose. And believe me, I will be there.
This is Daryl, Too Sweet Coley, 38-2, 28 knockouts, former #1 welterweight in the world, on the neutral corner with Jerry Sosa.
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit.
Hello, everybody. This is Jerry from the Neutral Corner. We have our guest. We're going to do a little something different tonight. Iceman, as Grace does. Iceman John Scully. If you don't know who John Scully is, you don't know boxing. Iceman John Scully is a former American boxer, formerly a world-ranked professional light heavyweight. He is now a boxing trainer who has trained 2 light heavyweight champions in Chad Dawson and Arthur Benavides. He's an analyst, or was an analyst for ESPN Classics on the television. John's also known for helping fighters that are in disadvantage, and it's great that he has them. I'm gonna jump right into this because we got him on the phone tonight. He's very busy. He's graced us with his time. I want to bring him right in. Iceman John Scully, how are you, sir? Are you there? We are trying to bring him on. We are working hard at this.
Jerry, he's here.
I can't hear him.
Here.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Ice, how are you, sir? When you go out, I can't hear him.
Yeah, I think that's what the problem is. Go ahead, talk to him. I'll work on it.
Ice, how are you, sir? Stay on with us, Blaze. Ice, how are you?
Yes, sir. Everything's good.
Good, good. So I know you are in Canada right now doing your thing. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I do want to say Daryl Coley and the Lady Champ are under the weather, so we send them our well wishes. He will be back with us next Thursday. Hope they get ready soon. John, I want to jump right into this because I know you're very busy. You're on the phone, you're driving, you're multitasking, and I appreciate your time. So let's get right into this. I know you post on Facebook a lot about these belts being given out and all these tournaments to young kids. I'm going to let you take the stage, and we're going to start with, what do you feel about this? Because I know you're very passionate about it.
Well, my thing is this. With the amateur boxing, it's very clear that they are infiltrating amateur boxing. The professional groups are infiltrating it. I predicted this years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago. People will tell you I said this is going to happen. They're going to give out these belts at amateur shows. Now, I could almost understand a national Golden Glove champion. You get the belt. But a WBC belt it's not right. It's IBF, WBA, WBC, these belts. An amateur belt should be an amateur belt. Professional boxing has nothing to do with it. But they're trying to bait these kids in and dangle it in front of them because they want them to covet the sanctioning body belts that draw sanctioned fees so they can get paid. They need to get paid more money in the future. They need kids to want belts and not trophies. So I'm not a fan in any way, and I actually despise when I see people doing amateur shows, especially a local show, and they give out a belt. And it has gotten so bad that there are coaches that actually will not go to a show unless they give out belts. Now,
yeah, and
shows where your mentality is. You're not out for the kids and for amateur boxing and to get experience. You want to get a belt. And people who don't know any better, they think this kid is a WBC champion. They think he's a world champion. And believe me, most people don't that get it wrong. They go, yeah, I'm world champ. So it's very clear that people are being manipulated, and this benefits the sanctioning body 100%.
Yeah, and what do you why do you think this is? I mean, do you think it's a new era in box, or not just in boxing, just in a new era now because we're giving out participation trophies and all this other stuff? I mean,
well, no, listen, no, I'm telling you what it is. They want kids to want belts. When I was coming up, when every amateur comes up, you want a trophy or you want a medal. Belts were never even a thing. But now you have kids 12 years old with 3 WBC belts in their house. They want the kids to covet the belt, period. And when a pro fighter fights for belt, he has to pay a sanction fee. That's how sanctioning bodies get their money. That's how they get rich. So,
and the thing is, what do we do? Because if you
every kids aren't supposed to have WBC belts in their house. It's ridiculous. Like a belt is supposed to be rare. It's supposed to be highly coveted and hard to get. And now I know kids who can't even win the Golden Glove locally, and they have 3 WBC belts in their house.
Oh, Jesus.
The problem is you have coaches, especially younger, inexperienced coaches, literally ask you on the phone when you call them about a show. They will ask you, are you giving out belts? And if you say no, they won't come. I mean, do you know how insane that is? Like the era that we are living in? I mean, if you want to be an amateur boxer, you're not thinking about anything but the fight. But now you got kids saying, I'm not going unless they give out belts. They don't want to fight. They want the belt.
yeah,
They give out belts for uncontested victories. You win a tournament and you didn't even fight and you get a belt and you have it in your house for the rest of your life. Oh yeah, who'd you beat to win that tournament? Oh, I didn't beat anybody. It was a walkover and I got the belt. It's
absolutely.
bizarre. I'm not a fan. I don't belong in this era at all.
And I can hear the frustration in your voice. I can hear the frustration. So I know you.
Pros, you have guys. I see guys on social media all the time who I've never heard of, and they have 3 or 4 belts. Pros, professionals, and they have so many titles that are out there to win a belt. And a guy will say, "Yeah, I'm the cruiserweight champion." Now, if you tell me you're the cruiserweight champion, I'm automatically assuming you mean world champion, WBA, WBC, IDF. But these guys are like, "Yeah, I'm the cruiserweight champion." Oh man, we're sanctioning bodies, the NABC or the USCO. I mean, you have people out here thinking it's easy to be a champion because their friends who's only been boxing 2 years already has 3 belts, and so people think anybody could do it.
Yeah, and to me, I think sometimes we're not preparing the young people because they just want a belt, and that's the thing. Everybody wants a belt now. So if you're throwing a tournament, go ahead.
He didn't say nothing.
Oh, so if you're throwing a tournament, Ice, and somebody says, "Are you giving out belts?" and you say no, and then you're not having people show up, what is someone to do?
Right. Well, what's an issue is you get people who won't come, and they'll like you have a guy, he's a champion, he's a champion of something, whatever sanctioning body it happens to be, and like I say, he could win it by walkover, or it's a local tournament, and it defeats the purpose of achievement. Like you're supposed to get great rewards for great achievement, and winning a local tournament is not an achievement worthy of a belt, worthy of a trophy, it's worthy of a nice medal. But you have coaches and fighters who think if it's not a belt, that it's not worth anything. and that literally makes no sense. It's bizarre, but that is the era that we're living in, and it's infiltrated pro and amateur alike. And like I say, I predicted this years ago. I knew the sanctioning bodies were going to take over the amateur boxing, and the kids were going to go for it. And some of the inexperienced coaches were going to go for it, and they keep selling the belt, the belt. Like they'll actually have on the poster, "We're giving out belts." That's supposed to lure the people in. I mean, to me, the competition is what lured me in when I was amateur. I wanted to fight guys. I wasn't thinking about what they were going to give me if I won. The victory was what I wanted. I didn't want the other stuff was just extra.
Yeah, I think it just takes away from what a belt means, and a lot of these kids, they get that belt and they think things, and look, everybody's got belts now. I mean, we're giving out belts like it's candy, and it's watering down the sport of boxing.
Like if you're supposed to be, if a guy has a belt, he's supposed to be special. You know what I mean? Like when you saw, look at when I was an amateur, I was going to sign with Sugar Ray Leonard at one point. He was recruiting me, and he brought me to his house. And there's actually a video of it on YouTube. You can watch it. You can watch it as it happened, where my reaction. He shows me his WBC belt. You can hear me say, "That's it. That's it." I was so excited to see it. Now, imagine if he showed me the USNBC belt. I wouldn't have had that reaction. I wouldn't have had it if it was the IBC Intercontinental. I wouldn't have had that. It was my reaction because of what it was. It represented the world championship. Now you got guys that are, local fighters, and they're on their way up, and they've already got 3 championship belts, and all their friends think they're on the same level as Sugar Ray Leonard, because Sugar Ray Leonard has 3 belts too.
Okay. And I think it takes away from that specialness of having a belt, like you said. And I mean, and I look at the professional boxing today. Everybody's got a belt. We got the silver belt now, and I don't even know what the silver belt. It's so hard for me to follow.
Here's the insane thing. I've been in boxing my whole life, like 40, 2 years, whatever it is. And I don't know. I've trained champions. I've been around the people, right? People ask me, "What's the silver champion?" I honestly cannot tell you. I have no idea. When a guy tells me he's the WBC silver champion, I don't even know what that means. I don't have a clue what that means. It's insane. And we're living in just in the world in general. What we're accepting is insanity. It's I don't know if it's everybody gets a trophy, era, station, whatever it is, but I'm not a fan. I don't, a championship and a belt is supposed to be sacred. It's supposed to mean something. And the more we go, the more diluted they get.
And it's sad. It's a sad state that we're in, Ice, because I know you trained 2 world champions and Chad Dawson, and I know you're working with another champion now. And I would love to hear what they think of these belts being given out. Like, everybody's it's supposed to be a specialty, like you said. It's a special thing to be able to look at that belt and say, "Wow, look at this. This is what I want." So I agree with you. We shouldn't be giving these things, maybe a medal, maybe a trophy, and work your way up to getting that belt.
Right, 100%. It's if you told me 10 years ago it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have believed it. I came up in the era of there was WBA and WBC, and there was no such thing as a silver, a regular, a gold, an emeritus franchise. There was none of that, and we're living. I'm not a, I'll be honest. In many ways, it makes me hate boxing when I see this.
Wow! To hear that, and to hear that from you, and I know I watched a video of Bernard Hopkins giving a belt to Jake Paul. Now, did you see Jake Paul's reaction? I don't know if you got to see his reaction when Bernard was handing him the belt.
I was I was ashamed that Bernard did that because I never expected that from him. He came from the bottom. He worked his way up the hard way. I'm not a fan of what he did. And, now on the one hand, to his credit, Jake Paul said he didn't deserve it and all that. But guess what? Jake Paul kept it, and he put it on the platform, on the table in front of him at the dais like he's a world champion. And then apparently when they asked all the world champions to come up on stage and take a picture, he went in with it. He went with the belt. He was in the picture. A guy with 5 fights or whatever it is. He doesn't belong there. It's nothing against him personally, but he doesn't belong there. It's not right. And the people in charge of the WBA and all this nonsense, I've said it for 20 years. The people who are in charge of boxing are not the people who love boxing. The people who love boxing hate the state of the game. They despise it. I'm around people who love boxing all the time, and not one of them is a fan of what's going on. But the people who are in charge, the face of it, they're the ones doing it. And they're the ones that have the most power, and they're the ones that care about it the least. I mean, Suleiman, his dad is the president. Yeah, he's supposed to defend that. He's supposed to keep that in line. If I was the president of WBC, if they hired me tomorrow, I would say, listen, we're having a world champion, and that's it. We're not having a silver champion. There's no such thing as a silver champion. We're not going to dilute this belt into a cup of water for history going forward. I mean, think about it this way, and I researched it. In the first 100 years of boxing, I think boxing officially was like 1883. I think the first pro fight was 1885. 1885. Okay, between
Did we lose him?
at heavyweight than there have been since 1985. You can look it up. Now, if we don't find something horrifically wrong with that, then we should all get out of boxing because there shouldn't be more champions in the last 37 years or whatever than there were in the previous 100. That's not the reason there's more champions.
Absolutely. So I know I ain't got you too long, but I watched an interview with Bernard Hopkins talking about Jake Paul, and he was saying that the show is over with Jake Paul. When COVID was going on, people were looking for entertainment. They were looking for something because they couldn't go out nowhere, and that's why he was so successful. I know he was supposed to have a fight with Hasim Rahman Jr., and from what I'm hearing in this interview, they didn't sell enough tickets, but they're not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you someone didn't make weight.
I mean, people are trying to convince me to be a fan of this kid, and I'm not. It's nothing personal. I'm not a fan of the process. I'm not a fan of the fact that a social media guy, because he has all these fans, because I guess I didn't even realize that he was on a TV show, I guess, when he was a kid. And then I look at how guys like Ray Oliveira and Scotty Pemberton had to come up in the game just to make solid paydays. And what they had to go through is a disgrace that this kid is not only getting that money for fighting, a much lower level of opposition, which everybody does. Now, let me just say this.
Yeah, but he's fighting. But Ice, he's fighting. He's not fighting lower opposition, Ice. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but he's fighting retired basketball players and guys that just.
Let me explain one thing to you. Listen, let me explain one thing. Everybody fights lower level competition on the way up. That's the fact. I did. Everybody did. But here's the thing: we didn't charge $90 on pay-per-view for you to watch it. We charged $25 at the Hartford Civic Center while I got acclimated to the pro game, and then I moved up. This guy's beating, a 40-year-old MMA guy or whatever, and then he's pretending he's on the level of Kovalev or Canelo and these guys. It's not right. And the people they're fooling, I understand it, the business aspect of it. They're fooling people who don't know better. I have guys tell me, oh, they call that, they call this. No, it's not. Come on, man. Like, give him time. Give him time. But you're paying $80 to watch him fight. I wouldn't pay any money to watch him fight until he advances a little bit, because I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to fall victim to this world of entertainment that we're in. I'm not into the YouTube and all that nonsense. I despise it. And when I think of how guys like Marvin Hagler and Marlon Starling came up, the level of competition they beat and had to fight to get to where they had to go. And now more people know who Jake Paul is than they do Marlon Starling. That's a crime against our sport, and I'm not going to be a part of it.
And Ice, let me ask you this. So, and I don't know if you can answer this question. How do we stop this bullshit, basically? Because I get into it with my son, because my son's a Jake Paul fan. And look, boxing's been in my family since the 40s. And I'm saying, so let me ask you this. Is he a YouTuber or is he a boxer?
I mean, listen, he's a boxer. Look, he's trying to be a boxer. He's a boxer. I don't want to disrespect him. He's trying, and I'm sure he's in the gym and he's doing what he has to do. But what I find troubling about him, irritating, is when I, like him or anyone, would put his name with Canelo and pretend he could fight with Canelo. See, a guy that's a good amateur, one of some of the best. Like right now, you have good amateurs that are came out of the amateur program, and now they're 6 or 7 and 0 as a pro, who are talented kids. They've won national championships. You don't hear any of them mention the top contenders. Not once. None of them do, because they know they're not ready, and they know it's just how the game's played. He's trying to get himself in the mix just by saying it, and it's that's the world we live in. And I don't belong in this world. It would be like when I was turned pro. I was ranked number 3 in the country when I went pro. I was a top amateur. Now after 5 fights, it never even occurred to me to mention a contender of the top 10 ranking like a future opponent. I knew it was going to take 2 or 3 years to even reach that level to get a fight like that. And this guy's mentioning Canelo. I mean, it's disrespectful. I'm not a fan of it at all.
So I mean, Bernard Hopkins said.
Listen, let me just say one thing, guys.
Yeah.
I'm training camp right now, and I'm really up for time. I got to take these guys back to the hotel, right?
Okay.
For me.
Well, thank you so much for being on. We'll do this again when you got more time, because I want to really get into this with you. I really want to jump into this really deep with you.
Right. Next time I'll plan it out better without the training.
Absolutely, but
I'll give you all the time you want.
Absolutely, but I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything you're doing. Tell the champ I said hello. I'm a huge fan. Ain't nobody beating him. He's an absolute savage. Ice, let me ask you this. Could you beat Jake Paul?
Well, I don't know about that 55 without training.
I think you could. I would pay to watch that fight.
I mean, he wasn't gonna deal with me when I was at my best, But that's
absolutely. That was just a fun question, Ice. But hey, listen, thank you so much for coming on. I know you're training a champ. You're very busy. I can't wait to see him come out and win. Thank you so much. I'll be in touch with you so we can work this out when you're not as busy. And we're gonna jump right into this, because I'm passionate about this subject. It's watering down our sport. It's hurting our sport. But again, thank you so much, man.
All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Right. Have a good night. So what we're gonna do here, and I agree with Ice. When I was growing up watching boxing, it was, a champion was something. Even if I interview a world champion, like a lot of people that I've interviewed been world champions, that's something special. Look, it's not to take away from these tournaments or anything like that, but look, a belt is for a champion. You know what I mean? And I want to play a video. All right, so I want to play this video with Bernard Hopkins versus Jake Paul. You're going to see Bernard Hopkins giving Jake Paul a championship belt, right? So I want to play this video. If my producer will go ahead and play this video, I'm just going to be quiet through the whole thing. I want you to watch it, and then I want to know what you think, and if you can kind of understand where Ice and I are coming from. So if you could do that, Blaze Man, my producer. I'll even get out of the picture while he plays it, because I want you to see the whole thing. All right, here we go.
Give you this as a token of motivation. We want to give you this as a token of motivation, discipline, and to see it every day in order to work hard as you have been doing. Have you been working in the gym every day, improving as a boxer? And we were having this conversation with you. So please, I'd like you to receive this belt on behalf of Bernard Hopkins.
What I'm looking at the reaction.
Yo,
Here we go.
This means a lot. I feel like I haven't earned this yet, though. I feel like I have to actually fight for this. I don't know. Like, you know?
Well, if you feel that way, I can accommodate you very well.
You don't want a real fighter.
Thank you. I feel like you guys should hold this until I'm actually fighting for a WBA championship. I don't know.
I'll take it back.
Yeah.
No.
All right. I'll hang it up, but this isn't mine yet. I'm gonna use it as motivation. Much love. Thank you so much for having me, man. I love you guys.
All right. So he says, I'll hang it up and this and that. But like Iceman said, when all the champions were called up to take a picture, he was in that picture with that belt. If you felt that way, you should have said, you know what? I'm not a world champion. This belt was given to me as an honor, which is okay. But I'm not going to get in that picture with the world champions. I'm not going to do it. If you felt that way to begin, if you heard what he said, oh, I didn't feel like I won this. I'll hang it up until I'm a real champion. But when they call all the champions together, you're right up there with your belt taking a picture. Shouldn't have did that. You see, and that's what Ice is talking about. Look, years ago there was like 3 world champions and that was it. Now we got, IBC, WBO, ABC, CDB. We got all these championship belts, and we're giving them out at tournaments. That should be something that your young fighter strives to get. Yeah, give a trophy, give a medal, but a belt, a world championship belt, that should be something that motivates you. That says, one day I'm going to have that. You know what I mean? And like I said, you can win, so many championship belts in these tournaments, but you can't win your local Golden Gloves. But yet you got 3 belts. So we don't want to water down what it takes to be a world champion. And I have to agree with Ice, and I follow him on his Instagram and his Facebook and all that, and he's so passionate about it. He's in Canada training a world champion right now. You've seen the picture with the world champion that he's training. The Blaze wants to put that back up. This is who he's training. This guy's an absolute savage, light heavyweight champion of the world. And, he's trained one before in Chad Dawson. So Ice knows what he's talking about. If you know John the Iceman Scully, right here, Benavides, if you know the Iceman John Scully, I call him the Encyclopedia of Boxing. He was on ESPN. He was a top world-renowned fighter in his own way. He knows boxing, and I learned so much from him by just listening and by just reading his posts. And John's great to reach out to and talk to. When I reached out to him tonight to do this show, he was in a busy restaurant. He was bringing sparring partners home. He was in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff. And for him to take that short time that we had with him tonight to come on and call in, and Blaze hooked that up. So I want to thank my producers so much for that, because that wasn't easy to do. And so we got a chance to talk to him, but we're going to have him on when he's got more time, and we're going to really get into this, because this is something we got to talk about, man. You can't just be handing out belts. You know what I mean? It's watering it down. It's hurting our sport. And when I heard, I had an interview. Well, I watched an interview with Bernard Hopkins talking about the Jake Paul thing, and I agreed with Bernard Hopkins on this one, because he was talking about Jake Paul, saying, "Listen, the show's over." He was saying, Jake Paul came on the scene while we were in COVID. And, people were looking for entertainment. They couldn't get out of the house. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't do anything. They were looking for, look, what was that Tiger thing we watched on YouTube? If anybody out there remembers the name of that show, the Tiger King or whatever it was on YouTube. Yeah, it was on Netflix or YouTube or whatever it was. And the show actually blew up. Would you watch that show right now? No, because look, you've got more things to do. You can actually go to the movie theater now. You can go out to restaurants. Things are more relaxed. People are not panicking over the COVID and all this stuff. And I'm not saying that it's not, COVID's not real or whatever. I'm not getting into that. But we were at home, locked down during the COVID. So people were wanting to see entertainment. They wanted to see something. They could have watched two turtles race, like Bernard Hopkins says, and that was entertainment. And that's when Jake Paul came on the scene, right? I'm not knocking him. That was smart. You made money. You did your thing. But now, when and I'm gonna play the interview. But when Bernard Hopkins is asked the question, and I'm listening to this interview, and I'm saying, wow, he does. It makes sense, right? Because when we were locked down in COVID, we were watching this stupid Tiger show, whatever it was, on Netflix, and it went crazy. I remember being locked down, and you couldn't go anywhere when the height of COVID was. I was looking for I've been watched everything on Netflix. I've been watched everything on Prime and Hulu and all this stuff, because we couldn't go nowhere. So we were looking for that entertainment, that excitement, that something. But now we're at a little normalcy, right? We can go out to basketball games, football games, all this baseball games. We can go to the movie theaters. We can go to the mall. So it's kind of changed now. And I know in this interview, you'll see that Jake Paul had a fight coming up with Hakeem Rockman, right? And they didn't sell enough tickets. But they're not going to come out and tell you that. They're not going to come out, the fight's canceled because we couldn't sell enough tickets. So they start going to like Bernard says, and you'll hear this, the blame game. So the guy couldn't make weight, so the fight's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Because people, the real boxing fan, and even the soft boxing fan, they're done. It's done. Look, if he fought someone, and not to take anything, like Bernard Hopkins says, and I have to agree, not to take anything away from Hakeem Rockman Jr., but if he were to fight someone that's a real boxer, people are going to want to watch. Even his fans, even the Jake Paul fans are like, dude, fight somebody. Fight a real boxer. Fight someone. And like Johnny Iceman Scully says, we all fought, B-rated fighters. But let's listen to you. I'm just going to say, I want to give you a whole interview from the beginning, right? I want to give you a whole interview from the beginning, and I want you to take on this, all right? So here we go.
Hakeem, man. Don't know we have the opportunity right now, but would like to get your overall thoughts.
They didn't sell tickets. They didn't sell tickets. They didn't sell tickets. You have to understand. There's a lot of fake going on, and people starting to realize it. COVID is basically not keeping people in jail / house or anywhere else, and they got other choices to make now than say last year this time. So the world of boxing and the people of boxing and entertainment is starting to say, oh, wait a minute, fool me the first time,
yeah,
right? Shame on. Right? Them. Food the second time, shame on me.
Bernard Hopkins, we just finished a press conference for Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Michael McKinson. I know we were talking about Jake Paul Rahman Unfortunate situation that happened. The fight did not go through. You know, they were talking about apparently the weight was an issue, but we know that Rahman, you know, is a heavyweight. If I'm not mistaken, a cruiserweight at the moment, and he wasn't going to be able to make that weight that they were asking for the week before the fight. You know, he had to be 215, 205. If I'm not mistaken. What do you think about all of that? Is it because of the weight, or because?
First of all, I think that. And thanks for asking me to do this interview. I think the weight issue is not an issue per se. I think it's a distraction. It's to throw you off the real reason, I believe, from my resources. It came to me, I ain't come to it. I believe the gig is up for J. Paul to present himself as a full-fledged, bona fide, should be respected fighter. Can he fight in the entertainment world of entertainment? Absolutely. Look, in Philadelphia, I can go to a lot of saloons or bars and find some great knock them down, drag them out type of bare knuckle type of fighting and pick gloves on them or whatever. But I believe that the business of selling the J. Paul and the Rahman fight didn't reach the respect of the boxing world and fans that's either casual or hardcore. It comes a time in any promotional business, especially boxing, when you get to a time to announce a fight, promote a fight, and you see the results based and predicated on ticket sales, the demand. Once you look at that sheet, spreadsheet, and get an idea leading up to the week or two before that fight, where you at in numbers, or I would say interest, having interest that's going to grab these multi-tickets that's still sitting, you have that feeling. Maybe they didn't, but they was told. First, J. Paul was. They knew that this was going to be a disaster promotion business-wise. But they thought they can sell it and thought the people, the public of the boxing people. And you can even add the entertainment people that's not really hardcore but just want to see a show. Now it becomes, now how do we curate something to not get that exposed? And blame it on this guy and blame it on that guy. I'm not taking up for either person, but I just know that the gig is up. The shit show is up. The shit show is up.
Bernardo, you know, just to piggyback off of that, I was on Twitter. A lot of conversations happen on Twitter. I know you've seen it before, how Twitter, you know, a lot of people speak. When that fight went through, we had a topic conversation on our Fight Hub Twitter page, and somebody screenshotted the MSG, how many tickets were still available, and there was more blue than gray. Now,
and what did that tell you?
I glanced at it at first. I was like, well, okay. But then now you're talking about, well,
but I haven't even seen that.
Yeah, and I saw it, and they're like, well, maybe it's because they weren't selling tickets. But then what you're saying, the interest of Jake Paul is probably people just like, well, now these big fights are here. People want to tune into the per se real fights.
They're tired of the shit show. Listen, you only got really, if you get 2 chances at pulling the wool over the eyes of the most.
If you have an enlarged prostate, do this 15-second Japanese ritual before bed to shrink it almost.
Wise boxing fan. They're not going to let you get them the third time. Not alone the fourth. Can you understand that the gig is up? Like COVID has eased up to the point where you still have to be careful depending on who you listen to and believe.
Yeah.
But if you look around, I see no one with a mask here. No one is paranoid. No one is walking around holding their breath for 20 minutes like they trying to flu. That is the same thing as I'm saying about the entertainment that's been entertaining people that's bored, stuck in a house, looking for some type of content. They don't care if it's two turtles racing. Do you not understand with my ADHD, to see two turtles racing would drive me fucking crazy?
I think that makes two of us. That makes.
So I'm trying to make some sense of this.
Yeah.
To let you understand that the proof is in the ticket sales. They're not selling and they're not buying. When they're not buying, you will not sell and you cannot sell. So now you have to bail out with the blame game mentality. Now, Jake Paul fights someone else that has a heartbeat and a respect from the boxing fans. Hardcore, softcore. Now you're talking based on who you're fighting. I'm going to see now whether you can do what you say you're going to do now. That's the fans. That's what I'm hearing. I don't care if it's New York, East Coast, West Coast. That's what I'm hearing. Now, how is that? No disrespect to Rockman Jr. But at the end of the day, people want to see real stuff now. They got other choices. They can go see a movie now. They can go outside and see a movie. They don't have to buy any cable, look at any Netflix. They go right now to the movies and sit there now with their popcorn and feel some normalcy. Come on, Jay. Don't have them start calling you fake Paul after you being Jake Paul. It's over. Come on, you done well in that hustle. The hustle is over. Should I say the hustling is over?
So there you go, man. I think about it, right? So if you listen to that video and you really listen and with an open mind and listen, look, I got nothing against Jake Paul, man. I think what he did was great. You know, to me, he's not a boxer. Sorry, and I understand. We talk about, well, you know, fighters coming up, they fight guys with losing records. Yeah, of course. Like Iceman John Scully said, I'm not charging you money to watch it. Tell me what pro fighter coming up for a retired MMA fighter, a 40-something-year-old basketball player. I mean, name me a fighter he's really fought. So it was entertainment. That's what it was. Let's see what the future holds. Let's see when his next fight is, and let's see if it's on pay-per-view, and let's see if it's a free show. You know, that's so the proof will be in the pudding soon. You know, the results are going to play out. We're going to find out sooner or later if this was just entertainment. You know, he had a fight with Hasim Rahman and Hasim Rahman Jr. But Hasim Rahman fought Lennox Lewis and was a great professional fighter. You know, knocked out Lennox Lewis for the championship belt. Lennox Lewis obviously knocked him out to win the belt back. But like Iceman says, we think about the Scott Pembertons, right? The Ray Oliveras and Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Tommy the Hitman Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard and Vander Holyfield, even Mike Tyson. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya, Tito Trinidad. I mean, on and on and on. Mickey Ward. I mean, these guys fought to get where they were. They didn't just step on the main stage and get pay-per-view. It's not fair to these guys. And I'm going to say right now, listen, you don't have to agree with me, and I'm okay with it. You know, me and my son Zach go back and forth with this because, you know, he likes what Jake Paul's doing. But can he sustain it? Can he do it for a long time? Hakeem Rockman Jr. was supposed to fight Jake Paul. You heard it right there from Bernard Hopkins. Was it the ticket sales? Or was it one guy couldn't make weight? Bernard Hopkins, a world champion, Hall of Famer, promoter, all that stuff, right? Now, could he be biased? I don't know. But let's sit back and see what Jake Paul does next, right? Let's see when his next fight is. Let's see if it's on pay-per-view, because right now, like, look, we were in COVID. We couldn't go anywhere. Now you can go to the movie theater, right? You can go to a restaurant, right? You can get out. You can do things, right? No one's nervous and scared and all this craziness about COVID because we didn't know anything about it when it first hit. Now we know more about it, you know? And I'm not saying it's real or not real, COVID. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we were locked up in our houses. We couldn't go anywhere. Restaurants were closed. Businesses were closed. Malls were closed. Movie theaters closed. Your bar, your cigar lounge, all these places were closed. You couldn't go nowhere. We were looking for entertainment. Does that make a little sense? Think about it for a second, right? You sit back and you say, well, yeah. And what was that? What was that show on Netflix, Blaze? If you know, what was that Tiger King shit? That fucking weirdo on Killer. Blaze, help me out here.
That was Joe the Tiger King.
Yeah, fucking weirdos talking about tigers and having fucking zoos and
yeah.
We would watch anything. That show blew up. That show was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to tell you, I fell into it myself, bro.
Yeah, no, I binge watched the whole thing, and then you know, would I watch that shit now when I can go to a restaurant with the wife, listen to some blues music, have a cigar, maybe a bourbon or a whiskey? Nah, I'm not watching that. There's time for that. But what Bernard's saying is, it's over. Look, he had a fight with Hakeem Rockman, and it didn't sell enough tickets. They're not going to come out and tell you that, so they're going to say, well, you know, the guy didn't make weight, so we can't have the fight. So let's see what Jake Paul's next move is. Let's see if he takes on somebody that's real boxer, that the hardcore, the softcore boxing fan might say, hey, you know what? I want to watch that fight. And let's see what happens.
I'm sorry, I have to get it right. Joe Exotic, the Tiger King.
Yeah. We watched that shit. Yeah. Would you watch that right now, Blaze?
No, the poor bastard's in jail right now.
Yeah. And the other lady killed her husband, and tigers ate him up. No. We watched that shit. Right. We watched that shit, and we enjoyed it. We were like, yeah, this is great. I can't wait for the next episode. Times have changed. People want to see boxing. People want to see things out. If they want to be entertained, they can go out and be entertained. Sterling Vargas, thank you for joining in. But at the time we were watching this stuff, we were looking for that entertainment. And I truly, listen, not that I'm biased. Listen, if Jake Paul came on the scene and he, you know, his first 5-6 fights he fought, you know, B-level, C-level fighters, okay, and he works his way up, great. I'm a fan. But, you know, you made on YouTube and you're taking on, what is it, Nate Robinson and retired MMA guys, and now we're giving out belts to everybody. What are we doing? What are we doing? Boxing's one of the oldest sports in the world. What are we doing? What are we doing? Well, we're coming to the end. I want to thank Blaze Man, my promoter, for getting the phone for Iceman John Scully. If you don't know who Iceman John Scully is, if you're a boxing fan, you know that. To me, I say he's the encyclopedia of boxing. It was so great to have him on tonight. I want to thank him again for taking a time out, training a light heavyweight champion of the world. And, you know, he's in Canada, and, you know, he found time to call us in between different things. There he is right there. Great guy. No matter how big your show is or how small your show is, he's willing to take the time to come on. That just speaks volumes on what type of man he is and the passion he has for the sport of boxing. I would love to see him in charge of boxing. You kidding me? This stuff would be all done. Be all done. So Iceman, again, thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to see you fight a fight. I don't want to say his name because I screw up names bad. Better Vive. I've seen him fight. It's not like I haven't seen him fight. I've heard his name pronounced. He's a world champion and he's a beast. Ain't nobody beating this kid. I don't care. Ain't nobody beating him. But yeah, let's continue on this subject a little bit in our next show. And my question is going out to the viewers and the fans. Is Jake Paul a boxer or a YouTuber? I want to wish Daryl Coley, the champ, and Lady Champ, get well. I know you're under the weather. You're not feeling well right now. And get well. You're in our thoughts and prayers. We'll hope to have you on next Thursday and have Daryl on. So I know Daryl's going to want to talk about this. Another world champion, another guy that's involved in boxing. And this is something we're going to discuss, right? I want to thank On the Ropes. I'm going to see if you can see the shirt. Hang on. I don't know if you can see the shirt. Maybe if I just did that. Is that better? Right? I want to thank them for sending me the shirt. On the Ropes Boxing. And they're a great gym with a lot of great programs. They're great in the master division. We just had one of their fighters on. They were fighting in the West Point Cadets. I have interviews for the West Point Cadets that I know Blaze has been real busy with a lot of shows. We're going to hopefully have those interviews on for you the next show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching.
They will be available for next show.
Absolutely. And that's coming from the man right there, because this is the guy that makes things happen. So, yeah. And is it fake Paul or Jake Paul? We're going to find out. We're going to find out, because I'm telling you right now, I have to agree with Bernard Hopkins, man. We were looking for that entertainment, man. I'm telling you. They couldn't sell tickets, man. They couldn't. Look at this. Look at this. On the Ropes, baby. Warwick, Rhode Island. That's the gym. That's the gym you want to go to right there. I'm telling you. Great people, great trainers. Tracy has done a tremendous job, her and her team at On the Ropes Boxing and Fitness in Warwick, Rhode Island. If you're in that area, if you buy that area, check the gym out. It's beautiful. It's inviting. It's bright. It's great. It's not intimidating. Go in and check them out. So everybody tonight, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank my producer. I want to thank Iceman John Scully. Again, I want to send my well wishes out to Daryl Coley and Lady Champ, feeling under the weather. And, fight that. You got this. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Is
there any way you can lose? Yeah, if I don't show up. And that's the only way I can lose. And believe me, I will be there.
This is Daryl, Too Sweet Coley, 38-2, 28 knockouts, former #1 welterweight in the world, on the neutral corner with Jerry Sosa.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.